Like, honestly, are we really going to care? TL is still going to be the North American team. The storyline for this year, no matter what happens at World, barring Cloud9 making finals, the storyline at Worlds will be TL 4-peated and TL was the NA team. And for Cloud9 to break that, they have to win a split. And the person I have to look at would be Sneaky.
Yeah, we talked about windows. This was definitely their window. Like you said, like Sven performing, like the best he's ever had. Like they probably had the roster to do it with Niski. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it. I don't think we can put all the blame on Sneaky. Sure, maybe he wasn't playing at his best. Like you guys mentioned, maybe he's in his decline. I think they tried something, right? They signed deftly. They probably recognized these problems and looked for a solution. So I'll give them credit for trying. And I'm actually interested to see Cloud9 at Worlds because historically Sneaky as a player has always done very well at Worlds, and he's been able to sort of like find this international Cloud9 gear where he can actually start performing in lane against some of these international bot lanes. And I don't know whether it's the solo queue, like maybe he goes to a low ping environment and he can spam solo queue and work on just playing more aggressively in lane, like posturing higher and like limit testing himself, and maybe that environment sort of brings his mechanics to a level where now he can contest in lane, or maybe he gets more motivation and drive and can play more disciplined. Like I don't really know what it is, but I do know that historically Sneaky does perform much better internationally than he does in North America, because in North America we don't really consider him a strong laner necessarily, and we see that by his insane CS deficits in the grand final to Doublelift. But when he's been internationally in the past, he's had decent success in the 2v2 environment. So I'm curious if he'll be able to replicate that this year. And I think we have to talk about Zeyzal as well. The AD carry position, you're handcuffed to your support. Pretty much anything you do in lane is predicated by the fact that your support has to be doing his job correctly. And I know that Sneaky in lane is a meme, as old as time. But I think this year, I forget where it came from, what source, but there was some kind of mutterings that maybe Zeyzal was the one who was like the problem with the Cloud9 bot lane, and maybe
it's when he was playing Lux, he was garbage. But as soon as Lux meta ended, he became better.
Right. So like Zeyzal historically like excels on like Alistar, right? Probably his best champion, plays it very, very well. But maybe like posturing in lane isn't his strength. Like we saw that on Lux, a champion that you need really careful micro within lane, and it demands you use micro to win the lane phase, or at least just get push. These kind of champions maybe aren't in his wheelhouse, and maybe they actually struggle to like aggressively win lane, and maybe they're more content to go 5-5 or 50-50. And if you're playing to go 50-50 against Doublelift, you will lose, and you will lose badly. And I think that will be the case against international bot lanes as well. So I'm interested to see how this duo develops and what a low ping environment. Actually, it's going to be a European boot camp, so hopefully they're in a place with low ping so they can get some good practice, and maybe we'll see Sneaky return to form. I hope so. I wish him the best, and I think he can do it. I know from what he said this season that he says he still has the drive that he's ever had, and that nothing's changed there despite him, growing his interests, which I do not think is a bad thing. I think that's a healthy thing, if anything. And I do think it was a little bit unfair that he was receiving so much backlash from the community for being a real person.
He shouldn't leave. There should be zero backlash for cosplay. There should be zero backlash for cosplay.
It's ridiculous.
Living outside of the house. Those are
ridiculous.
Like cosplay is like him having his own thing. Like you shouldn't be tied down and play the game 14 hours. You don't need to leave a gaming in-house. The thing that's fair criticism towards Sneaky is play. Anything else beyond that is just bullshit.
Yeah, and I hate that these two narratives got like twisted this season, and like we were sort of combining his play with like these other things, and it was a sour taste in my mouth, right? I was sick to my stomach for him because it's just so not fair for people to insinuate those things about a person that they do not know. But speaking of his play, I would agree. I think that in the finals he was outclassed by Doublelift, and it was not close.
Here's the funny thing, though. I'll actually take what you just said at the end there and explain why it actually shows that Cloud9 fans love Sneaky too much. They couldn't actually, their brain wouldn't let them touch the live wire electric ungrounded cord that said Sneaky's a bad player. So what they had to do was go, must be all the cosplay, right? That's it, yeah. Right, it's the cosplay.
Oh, yeah, they're fishing for some kind of reason,
in a mad way. Even though I agree, it was a bullshit angle. In a way, they were sort of trying to do him a favor. That's why I even made the point, because he got mad when it was repeated by Mark and Travis. And I even said, mate, they clearly like you and are trying to fucking help you. Like, they're actually not trying not to flame you. But they're trying to find any angle. Like, oh, I think he switched from the normal Dr. Pibb to the Dr. Pibb Extra. Maybe he has
it's so
problem
funny.
with it's like fucking hell. So my problem is this.
But Travis actually didn't say that. Travis said Sneaky should play for the academy team. That was just fucking out of line.
Did he? Wait, that has to be out of context.
No,
right?
it was not out of context.
Say that.
Travis said Sneaky seems like he's interested in cosplay. He's interested in other things.
No.
He said he should play for the academy team.
Wasn't this on Hotline League and like didn't it come like wasn't their whole thing like a call not even about Sneaky and they were actually like
they did ask about the call, but Travis straight said he should play for the academy team.
Okay, I mean I think that's a little strong. Probably I don't think Sneaky should play for the academy team. Like I said, I still think for a North American AD carry he's good. I just think he was severely outclassed by Doublelift. And to be fair, you put any other AD carry in Sneaky's shoes in that tournament in the grand finals against Doublelift, I don't think there's any difference in that series. I think Doublelift is just too good. It's not Sneaky's fault they lost. That's just the story of Team Liquid is like your bot lane is going to lose to Doublelift and there's really nothing you can do about it. You can try and put jungle resources there, but Team Liquid has been playing around bottom since teams have been playing around bottom and they're probably better at it than you are. So good luck.
Right, anyway, there's two things to say. One, by the way, and for people who don't know, maybe I'll do some content in this actually. The key thing for me as well is my reason why I want any of these changes, Reaper, Sneaky, whatever, is because I actually want Cloud9 to win a fucking championship. Like if I was here, I'd tell the opposite. I'd go, no, this is brilliant. Keep all of these things and keep doing the same thing every year and hope for a different result. No, same with Sneaky. Like the reason why I'm not going to hear people tell me Sneaky's fine now and just as good is because I remember how fucking good he actually was once upon a time. First of all, when he was just a role player, third carry threat, he was doing that job amazingly. He was actually one of the best NAs ever had. Because think about it, right? How rare is it your AD carry is going to be the third carry threat? It's very, very rare. So, like as a result, he had for many years he'd carved out his own like impact of the fucking AD carry role type rep. He was a consistent player, would play under pressure, would never just get smashed completely in lane, and would do great in team fights if he gets set. Brilliant. And he even had, if you go back to, I'm having to go off the top of my head, he had, say, like maybe early season 5, late season 4, he even had times when he was like a main carry, when obviously High had degraded a bunch, and they actually were able to play around his lane. To be fair, AD carry was pretty broken. It was Lucian and all that shit that was like super strong. But he could be a carry threat as well. The problem is, Sneaky is none of those things now. Now he's just, it's like I said, if you took the nameplate off and you were like drafting, let's say we did a draft with no nameplates, he would end up being, like he could still be LCS player, but he would play for FlyQuest or Echo Fox, or these would be the teams that would take him. It wouldn't be Cloud9. Like if there was no history, you wouldn't take him tomorrow, Jack. Come on.
Sneaky used to be the player that used to innovate, that used to be the first onto champion. Do you remember Sneaky Jin? Do you remember Sneaky Callista? Yep. He used to put in so much time to the game. He used to be the person that's innovating, like that's playing these champions first. Like, and that Sneaky isn't this Sneaky. Like, it just isn't. There was an actual argument for, like, Doublelift has gotten so much better, but there was actually a point where there was an argument. There wasn't, like, maybe Doublelift was still better, but it wasn't like this. Right now, it's like this. Sneaky and Doublelift are like this. It used to be like this, or even like this. It's just not the case anymore, and it's so hard to remove the nameplates. One other thing as well
is, in the beginning part of his career, once we actually found out Sneaky was a solid player, you could just say, well, like Lemonation was famously the player that everyone thought had shit mechanics and wasn't like a really great support. You could be like, well, he's handcuffed to this guy, so what can he do? And then now you could even say, well, Zazel's still pretty young. He's not experienced. This guy had Prime Smoothie as his support. As soon as I saw the years he played with Prime Smoothie, I was out on the idea he could ever be a Doublelift. Like, mate, that's when you become the Doublelift, is when you have a player like that. So... Because the key thing is, I said Prime as well. I didn't say like season 9 Smoothie. We're talking like when he was in amazing lane, shot calling, everything. Like that's when, by the way, if you're an AD carry who's really good, you become the best in the region. Like think about it. The shot callers in your lane. Like,
that's what Doublelift did, right?
You can take your advantage and shift it all around the map. That's why Doublelift Afromu was like such a great moment in his career that turned him around as a player, of course.
Yeah, and also with Core now, like Doublelift, yes, he's been the best in the West, and like Loco said, in the past it's been arguable. Like we can sort of like, for the sake of a narrative, be like, is Sneaky or Doublelift the best Wei AD carry of all time, and we can kind of hash that out. And now there's just no debate. But we do have to consider that this is going to be this is the 4th split that Doublelift's been laning with Core, right? And Core JJ is just an absolute animal in lane. Like he is 1v2ing like many of these lane situations. Like when you go and you watch his pro view, he is so crisp, and his movement in lane phase is pixel precise. Like he is very, very rarely in the wrong position, and he's constantly applying so much pressure that he gives Doublelift room to manage the wave exactly as he wants and trade exactly as he wants. And we see that with massive CS advantages in the early game. And that's mostly coming from how they manipulate their wave and how they actually position according to each other and relative to their wave. So yeah, Core JJ is on an absolute another level in terms of how he pressures the lane with Doublelift. And also, like I said, but like I've said this before, but bot lane is like a dance where you have to be completely in sync with your partner. And if one of you guys is out of sync or steps wrong, you're going to get punished, or you'll miss a potential punish. And Doublelift and Core are almost always in sync, and it's on another level compared to other bot lanes.
By the way, that is actually a great analogy to give as well, because this might shock Locodoco. I've actually taken dance classes before. I'm not claiming to be a good dancer, by the way, but just like, you know, in a scenario where you
can go clubbing when you're in LA.
And that is actually the tough thing, because I've done like the Spanish dancing where you do like tango and stuff like that. Right? The problem is, this is why it's a great analogy for bot lane. It's not even that like you don't make a mistake. The key thing is you can dance exactly the pattern correctly, but if your partner fucks it up, it will fuck you up.
Exactly.
Like your timing gets thrown off, and then you step on there, and then like it goes totally to shit. So actually, it's another example, by the way, of that famous thing that they say in League, where like it's better to have like a bad plan that everyone's on the same page of than all have like 5 great plans that are separate. It's the same scenario. Like sometimes when you dance, because in some of these dance schools, by the way, like what they do is they have like basically a thing where you swap like every minute or two, you swap to a different partner. And this is why, because they teach you to like adapt to someone else's rhythm, basically. Because the person you dance with, you might be perfect with, you might be in harmony. Well, think about how many bot lanes just played together. Like Sven and Mithy is a great example. They just played together for like 3 or 4 years, didn't they? Mm-hmm. So as a result, that's why I told you, Loco, as soon as they split Sven up from Mithy, I was like, I want to see what this is like, because everyone's taken for granted he's the best, he's going to be amazing. You've never seen him out that. He was a challenger player last time he played with other people. So like it's easy to get thrown off by shit like that when you're in that lane, I think.